Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live again. Tuesday morning, 9:30 East Coast time. That means it's our CSS critique day and live Q&A that follows. Um, but before we get started, the title of this is Crushing Fitness Tests and Getting Through Selection. What does that look like? Where most people screw this up is they solely focus on the fitness test, right? Which is for going to Buds or any Navy Spec Ops program. It's 500-yard swim, push ups, sit ups, pull ups, a mile and a half run. There are others that are similar out there amongst the various Spec Ops world. But regardless of what you want to do, there are still two phases, whether you want to be a police officer, regular Army, special ops, doesn't matter. And that is phase one is you have to do well enough on a fitness test to get accepted into the training. Where I see this a lot is the FBI recruitment process. Like people in the who want to be FBI agents have to pass a decent challenge, push-ups, sit-ups, a 300-meter sprint, a mile and a half run. Now, if you haven't done anything in a while, maybe you're an accountant or a lawyer, which are typical draws for that type of job. Um, these goals may be challenging, and if you're not preparing for those, you're not even going to get through the process to go to the academy. Same is holds for all other jobs in the tactical world. If you can't pass that fitness test, you're not getting accepted. So you can't get through the training if you don't get to the training. Now, that is also works in reverse too, where you have to start off with having some specific focus on that fitness test in order to do well on it. But then you need to have some time in your schedule to also focus on getting through the training. And that simply means whatever specific job you're going to be doing and the training that you're going to endure, whether that is a 6 month school of buds, it is the Q course, it is another assessment and selection, whatever that is, you need to have a good understanding of what daily challenges you are about to face. Is it 4 mile timed runs, 2 mile swims, logs, boats in the first 4 weeks? Is there a hell week? All these little things you need to know. Is there rucking? Is there swimming with fins? Because if you're not doing any of those, the chances of you getting through the training and graduating are so slim. And unfortunately, where most people screw this up is they spend all of their recruitment time just taking and failing PSTs, and they never build up to a point where they are crushing the PST, and they go to boot camp and they get a little bit out of shape because boot camp is not that physically challenging in the Navy. And then they go to prep and they can't pass the fitness test because they've deconditioned to a level where they're not at their peak, which their peak was just getting them to pass the fitness test. You got to crush this thing. All right, there are no minimum standards that are going to be acceptable for you in order to get accepted into these schools and accepted into the training and to get through the training. So there's two phases. First phase, to get to the training, you got to focus on the fitness test. To get through the training, you got to focus on the academy, the boot camp, the basic training, the selection, whatever the big challenge is in front of you, you need to be preparing yourself for that. And that may be a variety of things from weights to running, rucking, swimming, high rep calisthenics, might be a mix of all of them. So if that's not what you are doing, and you want to do these jobs, you need to figure it out. In fact, I put in links into the description In fact, I'll put a link in the comments section as well. And you can see what phase 1 is of tactical fitness, and you can see what phase 2 is of tactical fitness if you just read this, because there's a link to the next level of how that works and why it works. Because if you're not assessing yourself and you don't understand you have strengths and weaknesses going into this journey, your weaknesses will be exposed really quickly. Maybe even the first day, maybe even before the first day of first phase, maybe even in the prep phase. There are people not making it through the preparatory programs at these spec ops programs, whether it's SEALs or Air Force, they're not making it through that part as well. And that's not even the selection yet. So some people's spec ops dreams end before they even start. So I don't want you to be that person because you just failed to understand what exactly you need to do. And get out from under that rock and start looking at what you are trying to do and how to get through it. Because if you've never swum with fins before and you show up for your first swim fin and you're out in Coronado, you're too late. If you've never run with boots on the sand before and you show up on day one, you're a little too late. Unless you're a really good runner and it translates over for you, but it's challenging. If you've never rucked before, it may be challenging for you. No matter what job you're doing. All right, folks. So I don't see any questions yet. What I will do though is go into some CSS videos and we'll start critiquing. So let's see what this one looks like. All right, you guys can see that. I am going to hit play. Okay, solid kick off the wall. I like that. He could have gone a little longer. I think he just missed out on making that a little longer. Let's see it again. Yeah, if he wanted to, he could definitely hold that a little longer. All right, so we got top arm, bottom arm, kick, hold the glide. He could hold the glide a little longer. Good kick. Keep those feet together. No need to drag them and let them move behind you. It's kind of interrupting your flow there. All right, so kick off the wall. Good streamline. Just hold it a little longer. You got another 1.5 seconds easy of glide time. Yeah, if you just give yourself 1 to 2 seconds more, I'd say probably 2 seconds more of glide time, you're gonna get at least another body length out in front of you. I think that bottom arm's a little too big. It doesn't need to be coming out in front of you like that. It just needs to be under you with a little breaststroke skull. Yeah, definitely. Not bad though. Not bad. Let's see. Still no questions. I'm just gonna keep on going through some videos then. Let's see what we got here. I'll pull the next one up. Make this a big screen. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, you guys can see this. So I'm going to go back, see what this looks like. Kick off the wall. Good streamline. Double arm pull. Could hold it a little longer. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Pulls that top arm. Now notice this. Notice when he pulls that top arm, his face is still out of underwater. So it's pulled the top arm. It's coming up, and it's close. I personally just like to be turning as that arm is pulling. And when that arm is all the way down by my side like this, my face is already out of the water and I'm ready to inhale. Instead, he kind of pops his head up a little bit versus actually having it there. That was a little better. Turn with the top arm, breathe with the bottom arm. All right, I like this. That's a little better. But there's no reason why you need to look backwards when you do this either. Just turn 90 degrees, look out front. Good turnaround. That's acceptable. All right. Okay. Not sure what happened there, but he fell apart. Looked like he was trying to go on his other side. And if you notice what happened on that other side, the top leg went backwards, bottom leg went forward. Watch this. So he comes up on the other side, top leg goes backwards. Oh, no, it went forward. Eh, couldn't tell. Looks like he wanted to go backwards. He went forward with it. That's okay. It's not bad. Minor critiques. I think you're just not in swimming shape, so you're not handling uh, swimming very well. If you're having to stop, before you get a full 50 yards in. I think that might have been the same guy. Both videos. Just we cleaned up the second or the first one was actually the second one. Okay, so this one's all kind of jacked up. I'm going to show you this one real quick. There's probably not a whole lot I can do to fix this one just because it's kind of a mess. Definitely need to fix your kick. All right, so I like this kickoff. Kick off the wall. He's a little shallow. That is like what you want to avoid. You don't want to be plowing the surface right here when you do that underwater pull because what happens is that surface tension just causes you to lose all of your momentum and watch he just stops. Boom. Now he's got to recreate all that momentum and he's got a bad kick already. You can see he's kind of kicking twice per stroke with a bunch of flutter kicks in between. I will say this, if you're going to send me a video, if you would, be a little closer to the wall. I don't know if there's somebody here against the wall or something, but the glare makes it really hard to really see you swimming. So if you can't see yourself swimming, don't send it to me because I could probably see exactly what you're doing wrong if you were just a little closer. Looks like you're getting closer because you're not swimming straight. Yeah, your kick's all jacked up. So what you need to do is you need to go to the article called Fix Your Kick and start learning how to do a proper scissor kick. And the best way I can explain um, the scissor kick is to check out this link in here. Fix your kick if you're having problems with your kick. Best way I can explain the scissor kick is to do a jumping lunge. So you step out really far out in front of you, and then you try to jump and bring those feet together as fast as you can. It's probably the best way I can explain it. It's not quite that, but it's pretty darn close. If you can get that, then we can fine tune what it actually is and make it work for you a little better. All right, let's see. There's a couple questions here before we do the next ones. Do you keep your fingers connected or have a slight space in between for the CSS? So you mean like this or like this? I relax my hand. I find if I do a lot of swimming like this, trying to cup it, hand starts cramping up. So I just kind of relax my hand and just pull water. Couple of different philosophies out there on it. Some people say keep it tight. Some people say relax it and just pull. I don't know the science on it and which one's better. I just know that my hand feels better when I'm swimming long distances and I'm not flexing it the whole time. Um, was supposed to have PST yesterday, but YMCA pool is closed this week due to repairs. What's the best replacement for swimming I can do this week? Good question. My recommendation is if you can handle adding more running, do more running. If it's a leg day and you want to top off your leg day with something a little more challenging, try running hills or rucking, even rucking on soft sand or weight vest stair stepper. Like today, we were running up bleachers and we thought, man, if we had weight vest on right now, my legs would be toast. But you do 15 minutes of running up and down bleachers and then do a track workout afterwards. That was really good today. Um, but if you can't handle the additional impact, because this would be additional to your running, if you're on a pretty tight progression with your running, my advice is to damn fly. Um, my advice is to replace with a non-impact cardio activity like biking, rowing, elliptical, things like that. And so, just so you know, um, for every 500 yards of swimming that you're missing, do 10 minutes of cardio. Your choice of cardio. Is creatine helpful for PST prep or does it slow you down due to water weight? I don't think it slows you down due to water weight. I just don't know if it's necessarily helpful. Now, here's the problem. You can't do it in the Navy. You can't do it while you're going through BUD, so I wouldn't do it while you are a recruit. So it's not legal. So I wouldn't do it. Whether or not it's helpful or not doesn't matter. And to be honest with you, I don't know. If you look at some of the studies, it could be helpful, but it could also be harmful too. One of the reasons why I don't like it is when it's done in certain environments where the workouts are long and hot and humid and you're getting dehydrated. That does not bode well for someone on creatine that tends to get bilateral cramping, full body cramping, not only like a calf cramp, but both legs locked up, even torso locked up. You're in a ball. I've seen it go pretty bad if you're not staying on top of your hydration, which is harder to do when you're on creatine. You need to drink more water. So I've seen people spec ops dreamed end because they were on creatine. Now, this was back in the 90s and early 2000s when people didn't know how to dose it and they were probably overdosing it and not understanding the water intake of it. So I come at this with with a history of not seeing good results in spec op screeners and PSTs. By the time they were running, they were cramping on the PST. So there you go. Now, those are just anecdotal, individual cases. Like I said, the science may say it's helpful, but it's not allowed, so don't do it. All right, let's let me save this one. All right, so kick off the wall, double arm pull, not bad. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Hold that glide. Hold the glide a little longer. Good. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. I like this. Look at that. Top arm turn, bottom arm breathe, kick. Let me see what he's getting here. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. You know what? This is really good. 25-second, 25. This is a meter pool. So he does this in actually 54 seconds. So here's something you need to realize. A 50-meter pool, 25 meters down and back or 50 meters straight, is actually 54 yards. So if your goal is a yard per second, that's okay. Like right here, he's at 54 seconds. So 53, 54 seconds. So yeah, man, that looked good. I like that one. And you're a pretty big guy. I see you got some muscle mass there. And pretty lean. So, sometimes gliding for the leaner people causes you to kind of sink a little bit. So, what we try to do is speed up that um, stroke a little bit, just a half second or so. And you could see that's what he was doing. He wasn't holding it for a full three Mississippis. And that just enables him to keep his momentum a little bit. And as long as you're keeping momentum, you tend not to sink. Right. So there you go. All right. So may I take another question here? Usually asking questions, but just wanted to thank you. Oh, sure. Um, wouldn't have made it this successful in my training without your wisdom. Thank you for leading by example, helping us young guys. Ah, cool, man. Well, thank you. It is my privilege, and I'm honored to do it. All right, let me show you another one. This time with fins. When a lot of people say, "Hey, should I do flutter kicks or not?" um, when I'm swimming the CSS? My answer is without fins, don't do it. It's a waste of energy. And chances are you probably are not good at flutter kicks anyway. So just do a scissor kick, hold the glide. Now, with fins, everybody's good at flutter kicking, right? Unless your ankles are really weak and you have to start bicycling, right? So constant flutter kicks with fins is actually the preferred method. So let's see what this guy looks like. It's always awkward kicking off the wall. So usually what I do to build up some momentum with fins is to throw a little dolphin kick in there off the wall. I like this. Stays on his side. That's another thing that you need to do when you're swimming with fins is stay on your side because it keeps your fins underwater. And if you're kicking, you definitely want to be have your fins underwater. If they're coming up making splashes or a little bit awkward like that's like you see he's rotated over just a little bit and that little bit of rotation kind of um, gets that top fin out of the water a little bit too much. So yeah, just stay on your side a little more. You'll see a big difference in how your kick power looks. That's really good. I mean, that was let me see what time that was. That was a 50-second 50. So he's swimming a yard per second, 40. Yeah. So yard per second. That's good. Yard per second to give you, if you can do that for, um, if you can do that for 1,000, that'll give you a 1640 to 17-minute swim. If you can do that for 2,000, that'll give you around that 34, 35-minute swim. If you can do it for 4,000, which your 2-mile ocean swims are 4,000 yards, which is 2 nautical miles. That means you will be somewhere in that sub 70 range for your 4,000, typically, right? As long as currents aren't too crazy and you're swimming straight. So as long as you're in that 70-minute zone, you're 15 minutes under the minimum standard, which is good place to be. Whether you stay there or not, you still got plenty of cushion before you fail it. So that's kind of where you want to be in all these events, whether it's a run, uh, longer swim, you name it. If you're living by the minimum standards, all it takes is a bad day and a sore knee to screw you up to be able to maintain those standards. Hey, what's up? Hello, sir. My unit, we don't need to get good at swimming and swim the CSS, but I really like to swim as non-impact cardio. What would you recommend? Yeah, you know what I would do since you don't need to swim is I would just do the 50-50 swim workout because it's so good. I mean, it's a good mix of freestyle, and you can make the freestyle really hard by doing some skip breathing, maybe 6 to 8 strokes per breath. Get really winded on that freestyle, and then try to catch your breath on the CSS. See if you can do that nonstop without having to rest every 100 yards. Um, and then you're talking about a really good non-impact cardio activity. So, and then on leg days, you can put on a pair of fins and do it. I personally love it. I mean, I think, I don't need to pass any swim tests, but, I will definitely be in the pool, especially after running, after high rep stuff, after lifting. It just makes you feel better, loosens you up a lot. And typically after a leg day, if I swim with fins for a little bit, I've kind of broken up some of that soreness that could be creeping in on me, later at the day, end of the day. Um, so it's a great cool down activity as well. So absolutely, I will swim. I will probably, as I age, and I am aging, just like all of us, definitely will swim more than I will run. But right now, I'm not there yet. I am still running more than I swim as far as time per week, and but I could see probably getting in my 60s and 70s that I will probably swim more than I run um, when I get up that age. So it's something that you can definitely use for the rest of your life, whether or not you need to swim or not. I personally think it's a great skill to be able to do, just because you never know. Somebody falls in the water, you might have to go get them. Haven't seen you in a while. Let me know how you're doing. Send me an email. Um, all right, let's do this. We got another guy, same guy, this time without fins. Got shown a lot of videos today. Pretty good day. All right, so without fins, let me make this a little bigger. Where are you? All right, so he's going to kick off the wall. Damn, notice how he kicks off the wall. Now, I don't know if you've noticed some of the earlier kicks off the wall. They're just kind of pushing off the wall, not really putting a lot into it. But notice this one. I mean, this one looks like a rocket off of the wall. Check this out. Boom. Like he puts a lot into that. He's got a lot of speed right there at the beginning. And notice he doesn't lose any momentum by going into the stroke. And that's why he's so freaking fast. This is really good. And notice he's not doing a whole lot of flutter kicks. He's got a few in there. I think that's fine. I'm not anti flutter kick. I'm just anti wasting your energy flutter kicking. This is more like like a rotational kick. When you pull your arms, your legs move a little bit. So he's adding some little flutter kicks in here. A little too many. That's a little too much for my liking, because that does get tiring after a while. It's harder to maintain that. Some of those are more pulling kicks. But anyway, still fast. Whether or not he can maintain that or not is the question. 1, 2, I'm trying to count kicks here. It's got a good glide here. See, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Boom. Yeah. Just to be a little more general in my coaching, I would say kick a little less. Like, I think you got a really good streamline, you got a powerful kick. I don't think you need those extra flutter kicks. My um, compromise to you will be this: take a 500, swim it just like you just did. Let's see how you do. Next week, take a 500, swim it with less kicks. Let's see how you do and how you feel. Like, are your legs wiped out because you did 400 extra flutter kicks in a 500-yard swim? Or you feel okay with it? Are you in a good enough condition to where that doesn't affect you? Most swimmers are. Most non-swimmers are not, and they're going to feel their legs throughout, and hip flexors throughout the sit-ups and the run, and may be wiped out with a lot of loss of blood sugar and glycogen as well, and probably bonk on the back half of that run. Like I said, I'm saying this because I've seen it. I've seen guys who could normally crush the calisthenics and the run do this type of swimming with even more kicks and more strokes, just inefficient kicking and stroking and be half of what they were able to do because they left it all in the pool. You got to think a better strategy than that for a 5 exercise fitness test, right? You can't just master one with all your energy and not think it's not going to affect the other 4. So there's a reason why I teach PST strategy and why I teach um, ways to take the PST that include conservation of energy on that 500-yard swim. All right. You guys have any more questions for me? Because I am all out of videos. I have sent them in. If you guys have not seen all the places I have um, videos, you guys could go to a couple of different places. In fact, I'll even take you there. Um, so if you guys check these out, this is my Instagram Reels page. It's not all CSS, but as you can see, it's mostly CSS. Every now and then I'll throw a cool video of something else in there, but mostly it is CSS. All right. Now the other one is my TikTok page, and that one is nothing but CSS. And it could be a few treading videos in there and some drown proofing videos, but pretty much it is all CSS. And it usually has a an explanation of what it is, from excellent, like you can see right here. This is an excellent one, to swims with fins, CSS versus lead arm trail arm, not bad, 50-50, what that is, minor fixes. Sometimes I'll um, find somebody, I'm trying to find somebody who's over kicking too many flutter kicks. But I actually don't get a lot of too many flutter kicks. I probably will now, because there's coaches out there saying you got to do flutter kicks or you should do them. And once again, that's personal preference. You want to kick so much. This one's called flutter kick or no flutter kick. Can't remember what I did here. Let's see what this one says. This one's titled "To Flutter Kick or Not to Flutter Kick is the question." It really depends. If you're in shape for it, give it a shot. However, most people are not, and it winds up being a waste of energy, and in the end does not increase your speed at all. It may even make you slower. So that's what I'm talking about on this one. And these aren't even a lot of flutter kicks, really. I don't think. Little bit ones. I think the biggest thing is just keeping his legs really straight and kicking. Probably going to work the hip flexors a little more than it needs to be. But anyway, check those out. I got a whole bunch of them on TikTok and Instagram. The address for both of them, by the way, is the same. In fact, it's Stu Smith 50, TikTok.com, Stu Smith 50, or Instagram is also Stu Smith 50. So you can check those out. So, question here: what place is easiest for you to review a CSS sent to you? Typically, I get 2 ways people send them to me. They send them to me in my DMs on Instagram, or they email them to me as a movie file, and I download it and review it. So you can do one of 2 ways. Probably the easiest way is just send it to me on Instagram, but it needs to be less than a minute. Otherwise, it's not going to really show up. And it's hard to email a video longer than a minute too. So keep them between 50, 60 seconds at the max, and they should be fine doing that one. Any more questions? So, um, if I don't have any more questions, I want you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button. Also, if I did miss your question, you can go to stu@stewsmith.com and you can send it. If it question pops into your head long after this video is gone, you can send it to me by email. If it's a really good one, probably write an article about it, or I will definitely answer you, but I will also may share it in the next live if it's a really good one and we're running slow on questions. Um, Running low on questions. But you guys can also check out stewsmithfitness.com. A whole bunch of articles out there, a little search feature. You can go to Google and search a question with my name in it, see if I've written an article about it. I may have. And, use the live 1.5, save 15% over there on your books and ebooks. Looks like some questions did pop up, and I will answer these and figure out what's next. Currently working on your spring tactical fitness book. However, I have chronic golfer's elbow. Ooh, how can I keep a lot strength? Um, yeah, you may need to get a little wrap in there. Change your grips for some of the events. Like I had it a couple of years ago, and it lasted a couple of months. And so I had one of those little wraps that went at the base of my forearm right here, and instead of doing pull-ups like this, I had to do them like this or prone. That made a big difference. I could still do pull-ups, but I couldn't do grips like this because it hurt to do regular grip pull-ups. So try playing around with grip changes and see if that helps you. If that also bothers you and if it hurts to push and pull, then you may need to take some time off. Typically, what you'll find with the beginning of golfer's elbow or even tennis elbow is one or the other hurts. It hurts to push or it hurts to pull. My advice would be to avoid whatever hurts. And if you want to play around with different hand placements of width and um, grip changes, you may be able to work around it a little bit as long as it's not too bad. Damn, had it for a year. Woo. Yeah, that's tough. Um, yeah, that's something that it was for a couple of months for me, and but I actually just worked through it and just changed the grips. I didn't do this kind of grip of pull-ups for probably 2 or 3 months, but that's what helped it tremendously. And hang cleans. I couldn't do hang cleans anymore. I laid off the hang cleans, but I could do kettlebell swings. One arm and two arm. So there may be some ways to get creative with still moving and not hurting yourself. I'm having some difficulty learning the CSS on my weak side. My top kick on the opposite leg feels awkward. Yes, it's like riding left-handed if you're right-handed. Would you recommend using a kickboard as part of warm-up? Sure, absolutely. Practice that offside kick because it's different. It's if you've been a baseball player and you throw right-handed all your life, it's like putting on a right-handed glove and throwing left-handed. It's just weird at first. So you just got to get used to it. But I would say this, don't even try it until you've mastered the strong side, because then it's a much easier mirror image flip to be able to do that. But sure, kickboard drills are great. Hamstrings are always sore after a run or ruck. Any recovery tips? That's a tough one. For me, it's swimming and treading. I usually, after running or rucking, I usually will cool down with a swim or a tread or an aqua jog. If I can't do that, I'll hop on a bike for 5 or 10 minutes and then stretch and foam roll for 5 or 10 minutes after I run or ruck. that helps a whole bunch. So see what you can do. Don't skip your cool downs and stretch out a little bit and massage a little bit. I'm finishing. If I finish your PST book and don't feel I'm ready to move to phase two, what should I do? I would do it twice. Absolutely. But my advice to you is, when you're done with it or almost done with it, like towards that last week of PST, is let me know how you do. And, um, maybe you just need a break and then you can do weeks 13 through 16, which are the human performance test, gives you a little lifting break in there, and then come back around and start over again. So maybe that'll work a little bit better for you too. So there's an extra in this latest one that I created. That's why I redid the whole cover and everything, is because there's the human performance strength program in there, um, that just has you doing more weight training in it, but you're still doing a lot of cardio too. But check that out, see if that works for you. But yeah, doing it again is definitely an option. Am I a fan and recommend yoga? Yeah, I like yoga. I will be honest with you though, I tend to not have the patience to do a whole yoga class. I've done them several times, and I'm just like, I'd rather do something else. So that's where I came up with my mobility day. It's like 5 minutes of a spin class followed by 5 minutes of a yoga class, and you do that on and off for an hour. Personally, for me, that is great for me. Maybe it's a sign that I have ADHD, can't really focus for a whole hour in a yoga class, or don't like a whole spin class for an hour, but I can mix the two up every 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and it is wonderful. It's very helpful. What time do you start your live stream? I've been missing them for the past few weeks. I start them Monday and Tuesday at 9:30 East Coast time. So um, Tuesday is my video day where I share the CSS videos that get submitted, and Monday is just a fitness topic and some questions. All right. Any advice on mentally dealing with chronic or permanent injuries? That's a tough one. I would say that, you know, I put it this way. I think we all have our burdens to live with, whatever those are. Some are worse than others. But attitude goes a long way in how you handle it. It could be, you know, a stub toe and people miss work because, it's just painful and they don't feel like going to work. Or, it could be a broken leg and people still go to work. It's just one of those things that, you know, an attitude of gratitude is one of those things that really does go a long way. And I know that's easier said than done, but at the same time, I wake up in the morning and I'm stiff. I have, my back is not 100% when I first wake up. And it takes me a good 10 or 15 minutes just to kind of warm up. And when I start running, my body yells at me for the first 10 minutes, like, what are you doing? This isn't very fun. Why are you doing this? And then after I warm up for about 10 minutes doing that, I'm much better and I'm into it and I can handle it. So part of me, during that moment is I literally tell myself I don't have to do this. Like, I'm no one's pulling my arm and making me do this right now. I get to, right? I am still capable enough that I get to do X, whatever that is, whether that is go for a walk, or it's go to the gym, or it's go for a swim, or it's I'm able to run. Whatever that activity is, I don't have to do it. I get to do it. That makes a big difference. But you know, chronic injuries, at, at some point, it gets well above my pay grade. And not sure how good your doctors are, orthopedic doctors are, but I would definitely consider that if it's just one of those things that is just never going away. I'd hate to say that surgery is an option. Um, surgery, but there's plenty of things to do before surgery. Physical therapy, I'd probably start off with physical therapy long before I'd get anybody to cut me, just to see if there's some muscle imbalances or some mobility work that can be added to my day to make that pain a little bit less. Sometimes it's weight. If you can lose 30 or 40 pounds, you'd be surprised at what that does to your knees and back. Very helpful. So it's a whole bunch of things that you could do to mentally and physically deal with that. Chiropractor, some people have good chiropractors, some do not. I'm I tend to not make chiropractor recommendations, but I know some good ones too. And I've had some good adjustments before that, felt like I could breathe again. So I'm not knocking chiropractors either. Just not everybody's can find a good one. What do you think is the best leadership quality of an officer going to buds and in the team? Something you wish you knew before going. Um, I would start off always with humility. Because you're going to be going into a room and everybody's going to know more than you, especially when you're first starting out. And you need to be humble enough to realize, yes, you might be in charge of a particular activity as a junior officer, but you don't know everything and you need to learn some of the things that need to happen. So you need to rely on your chiefs and your LPOs and your, the guys that are running different departments in your platoon, because by then you're probably assistant platoon commander. By the time you're a platoon commander, you'll know this answer. But I would say be in receive mode, listen, and but at the end of the day, you're the one responsible for whatever activity is happening. So you have to lead. So the best leadership quality is to effing lead, period. But be humble about it, learn, always in receive mode, make a decision from what you're receiving. But yeah, effing lead. In fact, at the Naval Academy, there's a quote on this chalkboard that says, "Why do I want to be a SEAL, EOD Marine officer?" And it is literally to effing lead. So there you go. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it quits today and get to work. I appreciate you guys listening. Um, Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm happy to answer them offline. Just send them to me, stu@stewsmith.com. And I will see you next week. You guys have a good one.